Hello everyone, my name is Cernica, and I will present techniques to de-anonymize TOR HTTP's hidden services. So I will have an introduction about TOR, what is TOR, and then known de-anonymization techniques, then how downgrading the protocol you can leak the IP address. After that I will show you other techniques that I developed and how to fix them, then the demo time. Who am I? I'm an application security engineer. I'm a CTF player, a PhD student, security researcher, and former bug bounty hunter and former entrepreneur, unfortunately. The Onion router, it helps you to anonymize through the internet and enables access to the dark web. A basic configuration is like you have to define a hidden service directory where the configurations will be stored in hidden service directory. Then you have to configure the networking part with the ports, and then you have an output like a domain like that one from the slide, a big name domain. Then de-anonymization techniques are server status, key certificates. Then you can search for the address through the internet. gzip technique is not just to de-anonymize, just you make an idea about where the server is located on the planet. Then favicon technique, and just hack the server, find remote command execution, and so on. The HTTP server status is enabled in Apache 2 servers by default, and you can access it from the local host. And in TOR, you are visiting the server from the local host. And sometimes you can find in virtual host column, you can find the IP, other domains or IP addresses from the public internet. And maybe you can leak the real IP address. The key certificate, you can take some artifacts from the key certificate, and you just have to search it for those artifacts on the internet. And the best way is to use Shodan, because Shodan indexes information from TLS certificates. Or this is a little chance of success. Maybe some, I don't know, 7 years ago or 8 years ago maybe would work, but who knows? You maybe can search the whole Onion address on Google, Bing, DuckDuckGo. You should give a try. The gzip compression is about finding the local date from the gzip traffic, because the communication between servers are compressed and is compressed, and it gives you an idea where the server is located. Favicon, is that tiny URL, that tiny image from the URL bar, and it is possible to make a hash of it and find it on the Shodan, because Shodan indexes such hashes, and you can find it on Shodan. An example of this is Quantum Ransomware Group, which their server was located by Talos, just by finding the hash of the favicon of the ransomware website, which was on the TOR. Or just hack the server. Remote command execution, I don't know, local file inclusion, maybe you can leak the IP. So downgrading the protocol. How did I find this? So a few years ago, I found a strange request on my web server on the public internet. It was nothing to do with the TOR, because at that time I was working on TOR as well. But I was looking on the access log, and I saw strange requests like not found, exactly like this, not found. It was a big one. And at the first glance, I didn't notice anything strange, but it was just that big name in the URL. The same behavior was on my honeypots as well. And after a few days, because the request keep coming for days, I was thinking to dump the whole request. Maybe it is an exploit on my web server, on all the internet, and I was curious about what they are sending to my web server, the whole request, because in access log you don't have all the information. And I was looking on their website, because they gave some details about what they were doing there. It was about from a university from Germany, and they said that they just make a research and don't worry, we are not exploiting anything on your web server. And what I tried was to replicate what they did, and it was very strange to see in the response that one of my domain, which was the first configured on my virtual host domains, was leaked. And it shouldn't be leaked because I wanted to keep it safe. So I was thinking to apply this on Tor or even on the internet to find new domains like on information gathering. So why this behavior? It's not because it's a security problem in Apache 2 servers or Nginx or Tomcat. It's all about, as I said, it's all about configuration. You have to configure it. Of course, no one think about this problem, but might happen, this problem. But sometimes if you try to remove the host header and downgrade the protocol, you can find other domains, and the server should respond with one of the responses from one of the domains or something, and it chooses the first one from the virtual host configuration file. And this is what you are looking for, the first domain configured. And how is the leak, how it can be triggered? So it can be triggered by making an exception on the web server. I don't know, bad request or forbidden or not found. This one is not an exception, but you can trigger it by creating a forbidden response or not found even. But the best way to leak the IP is through the server redirects, which you can trigger very easy in most of the web servers. So this is how it looks. This is in the left. It is the request sent to the server, and in the right is the response from the server. If we don't downgrade the protocol, you can see that in the response we have server at and what is in the host header, which is my Tor onion address. If we downgrade the protocol, this is just an example. We put .html. I will explain why this triggers the 403 forbidden. As you can see, I downgraded the protocol, I removed the host header, and the server, he needs to choose one of the virtual hosts, and he will choose the first one, which is not the Tor onion address, it's the IP address, and he will, the server will respond with the IP address through the forbidden response. If we try to insert a long header and trigger a bad request, as well we can find the IP in the response. The same result with a long URL as I saw in my access log. And if you upload a big file, maybe the file size will be bigger enough to trigger the bad request because of the server limit. So 403 forbidden is triggered by the .ht rule from the Apache servers. And if you write /anything, .ht anything, it will trigger the 403 forbidden because the server tries to protect the HT files like htaccess or htpassword and won't respond with the content of these files. The server redirects is the best way to trigger to leak the IP through the redirects. If you don't put in the end of the URL a slash, and that one is a directory, the server will redirect you to the directory with a slash at the end of the URL. So in this, here is an example of server.com/dir will redirect you to server.com/dir/. It will put the slash at the end. If there is an app without, like an API, or an app without an HTML content, and you just have an API and you don't have directories, then you can use /CSS/icons. There are some predefined directories in the Apache, but only if you are coming from the local host with the request. And in Tor, most of the time you'll be visiting the server with local host. So if you want to trigger the redirect, the best way is to look at the HTML page, locate a directory like this, so the CSS directory with the file style.css, and you just have to request /CSS without the slash at the end. And you'll see that the redirect will be triggered by the server, and if you remove the host header and downgrade the protocol, then you'll have the IP leaked in the redirect, in the location and in the response. I didn't make a research on this by applying this research on the internet because I'm not sure if it's legal. And I don't want to have headaches. It appears that others did this before, like the German university, which I told you about. And maybe they were looking for this, I don't know, I'm not sure for this, but it's like a kind of reverse DNS on an IP, kind of, not DNS reverse. Other techniques developed by me, like that one of searching the URL, Tor URL on the internet, you can search for e-tag on Shodan. The e-tag is that part of the HTTP protocol for World Wide Web, and downgrading the protocol has nothing to do with the e-tag technique. So the e-tag is specific for static files. If you visit a static file, you have an e-tag, which is a unique value. It's a hash, something like this. I think it's based on an Apache server is based on a MD5 or something, then reduced to this type of hashing. Then if you search for this on the Shodan, maybe you can give a try and find the correlation between the Tor server and what you'll find on Shodan. Other techniques, same network technique, you have a list of all the Tor onion addresses. Maybe I can show you on another slide about this problem. Okay, so, not this one. This one. You have the host header and you can insert for each request the other onion addresses from Tor, and if it responds the same, if you would visit them without using the host header, maybe you make a brute force on the host header, maybe you'll find the same content, and then you suppose that the both servers are on the same server, and you just increase your attack surface. And maybe you don't need to de-anonymize the first server, just de-anonymize the second one, and maybe you can succeed and find the IP address. Ah, sorry, I went back. So I will have the demo right now. So in my demo, I will show you how you can trigger the forbidden. So if you put ht.ht and anything, you will trigger the forbidden, 403 forbidden. You have the server at here with the onion address. Then here I show you how to trigger it without any noise, because .html I don't think will trigger the attention of any sysadmin, maybe, I don't know. And if you downgrade the protocol, as you can see, you can find my real domain name, which was configured on the virtual host. And maybe that hidden -domain.ml, maybe you can find it on the internet, you can find the real address, and it's the same with the Tor address. Now I'm trying to put a long header to trigger the bad request. And right now I insert a long header. And I expect to have the 400 bad requests in order to leak the IP. And this is what I'm doing right now. So as you can see, I triggered the bad request through the long header, and we have the hidden domain. Another possibility is with the server redirect, as I told you, the CSS redirect. So here is not downgrading the protocol is HTTP 1.1. With the host header, we try to do the redirect. As you can see in the response right now, it's redirecting to the same onion address, Tor onion address, that big one. If we remove the part with the host and downgrade the protocol, then the response will leak the hidden domain. It should leak, yeah, worked. And now I'm trying to see if the hidden domain still responds with an IP, it's configured an IP which is on the same IP for the Tor address. I'm visiting from the internet the IP which I found on the Tor address because I'm connected through the Tor on the Tor address and I just changed the host name. Right now I'm on the internet and I'm trying to do some requests from the internet, then to validate with the server status page. So my traffic made from the internet should be seen on the HTTP Tor server on the server status. That's what I'm trying to do right now. And we'll see the server status and we'll see the traffic I made. It should be happening in a while. Right now I'm showing you the e-tag technique. That is the same e-tag on the onion here as from the internet, the same e-tag. Now I'm visiting the server status. I'll go on the browser to have a nice printing. And right now, as you can see, I have all the requests, both from the Tor and from the internet. That's how I can validate that is the same server. Right now, it's another, I want to pause. Right now, it's another configuration. I want to show you something very interesting because it doesn't help you just to de-anonymize servers. I will go back. I cannot go. Can you help me with the video? Right now, at the end of the video, if you can. This is not having a note. What I'm trying to do is to reconfigure the hidden domain to be in the to have a Cloudflare in front of it, and to show you that even if it's Cloudflare in front of it, I can de-anonymize it and I can get the real IP address. Okay, can we go to the final of the video or something like? Yeah. Can I see the minutes of how long is this video? And yeah, I will tell you about what I did. So it's about the Cloudflare. I configured the server to be in front of a Cloudflare. So you know that you cannot find the IP address of a Cloudflare, the real IP address of a cloud server. What I did was to use the long header technique because that's the only technique that doesn't imply to downgrade the protocol. So in Cloudflare, if you change the host header, host name, and downgrade the protocol, you get nothing. So the long header technique will help you to trigger the bad request, and in the bad request we'll get the IP address. And that's what, here, thank you. You can play it from here. Okay, you can start. So, as I said, I put a long header, and in the response, I get the real IP address of the server, which is protected by Cloudflare. It's not a problem in Cloudflare. It's not a problem in Apache. It's just about configuration. And that's all. You can close the video and go on with the slides. So in conclusion, any sysadmin should know about this and configure the first virtual domain of the configuration file with localhost to not leak any domain, which is very important from the company. And disable the server status on Tor, because disabling it, you cannot see anymore the request to the server, and maybe someone can leak the IP through them. And just pay attention at the exceptions and forbidden and not found pages, because those pages can leak the IP as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you have any questions.
Thank you, Ionut. That's a really interesting presentation. We're going to have to take some questions from the audience, if there are any. Perfect. Just a second. Also, for the people that have questions, please stand up so we can see you. It's better for us to see where we can. You have the mic there.
Thank you. One question: do these attacks also apply
Could you please
to
stand up?
services behind I2P? And in general, what's your opinion on the current status of, in regards to anonymity for I2P service, both for operators and users? Because there was I think like recently a migration to I2P because of the constant DOS attacks for TOR services.
These attacks are working only on Apache-based server. I'm not sure I2P, or I didn't heard it very well, what you said.
I2P.
Okay, I'm not, it's a protocol or what?
It's also a protocol which basically...
It's not a problem in the protocol, it's just it's a problem in the Apache server, core server of the Apache, because Nginx, Tomcat use some things from the Apache. And Apache 2 as well is using what they developed. And the problem is just in these servers, is not in other servers like I don't know, Glassfish or WebLogic or any other server like Python or the Flash and so on. So these Apache core-based servers are having this problem. Maybe, I tried to do some research on the Microsoft servers and so on, but I didn't have any result on this. So if you mention anything else, and I don't know, maybe another protocol, if they are using this, an anonymization protocol or something else, if they are using this, then maybe you can leak something.
Okay. Would be interesting to try, because I think they would also work there, because basically they expose the IP address, and you can't also hide that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do we have other questions from the audience? Yes, another question over there, and also here. Great.
Then I'll ask my question, I guess. I was curious how worth it is to keep support for HTTP 1.0. Are there many legitimate requests?
My opinion is that no, you can disable it, because no one is working with HTTP 1.0. It was left there because maybe, I don't know, some old devices use it. But in these days, no, we are trying to go to HTTP 2.0 and so on. So I think they were thinking that won't be any problem if you left there, I don't know, someone who really wants to use it, but you can disable it.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's the best way to fix these problems.
Yeah, hey, it was a really awesome presentation. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
I was wondering, will this technique help in regards to domain fronting to leak additional information about, so what's behind that domain fronting? Like you said about Cloudflare.
Okay.
Cloudflare is sometimes used as domain fronting by, I don't know, threat actors or stuff like that. Will it help, I don't know, in any way to leak additional information, this technique?
Depends. No, for instance, you just leak the IP and from there on, I don't know. You choose what to do, what are your limits, and so on. But you don't leak any other information, as from what I saw. Yeah.
I could also answer to your question. The reason is no.
That's all. Just the IP. I was focusing on IP because it was interesting for me for the Tor browser, for Tor protocol. Sorry.
So it might be a shitty question, but did you try with downgrading it to HTTP 0.9?
0.9?
Yeah,
0.9, because that's the first protocol.
You might
and
find other
maybe,
vectors there.
Yeah, I think it's working as well as 1.0 because they don't have the host header. Because
yeah,
at
I was
that
thinking
time,
about the older, well, not PHP serving servers, but maybe with the Microsoft ones and IBM WebLogic and whatever. It might be a vector there.
yeah, I think it's working on 0.9. It's nice you mention it because I forgot that it exists in that one.
Okay, thank you. We have another question over here.
It's more of a curiosity from my side. If you made some experimental assessment, what would a server like Nginx compare to the Apache-based solutions?
So, based on my research and what I presented here, I can say that on Nginx you cannot trigger those exceptions I talked about at Web Apache 2 servers, but it works with the server redirects because the core of the server, it's from the Apache, something like this. And the redirects are triggering the same way as Apache 2 and Tomcat. That's all. And yeah, on Nginx, you can use just the server redirects, nothing else. So on Cloudflare, maybe you can de-anonymize just the Apache 2 servers, not anything, not Tomcat, not Nginx. And I said it's not a problem in Cloudflare, it's just the way you configure the Apache 2 servers.
Thank you, Ionut. Do we have other questions in the audience, or shall we move on? Well, perfect. Then let's have a big round of applause for Ionut. Awesome presentation.
Thank you.